Oh, it's over your head. You can't see anything. I am the only one there. But the one thing is, this time, because we do have a lot of people watching it, and in the other sanctuary, it would pick up some of the, if we talked, it would pick it up. It won't in here. So if you have a comment, if you have a question, if you have anything like that, please pick this up. Again, like I said, the video is not picking up anybody. Hey, is it running? Okay. The video is not picking up anybody, but it will. We need to pick up whatever question, because if somebody's watching it in Monroe or Shreveport and then I go, yeah, and then don't tell them what's going on, it won't help them. So if we have anything that we need to do that, then please talk in to the thing. Okay. Well, guys, let's pray. Dear Lord God, thank you for today. Thank you for the opportunity to come and to meet as men, to grow stronger in you, to grow stronger in our minds, to grow stronger in our hearts, to grow stronger in our souls, to battle the devil in everything that we deal with. God, today is so important to talk about the way that the devil wants to call us away from being the men we're supposed to in the relationships that you've given us. God, I pray today we understand more of why we need to battle this stronghold of the devil. God, I pray today we understand what it does to our mind, what it does to the minds of our wives, what's the difference between the two of us. And God, as long as we understand that and know what we're fighting, God, we will fight so much harder. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. All right, guys. Thank you all for coming and being here today. Like I said, this is the week we are talking about our relationship and how the things that we struggle with affect our relationship. And so many times we talked about, that devil and how he lies to us, that it doesn't have anything to do with your wife. It's just you, or it's not hurting anybody, or it doesn't change anything. Tonight we're going to talk about how the most important relationship under your relationship with God, it's really going to change. And it's going to change it in a lot of different ways. It changes it in the way that you see things and how you approach your spouse. It's going to change the way that she approaches you. We talked about how the devil takes a little bit of truth and he just twists it just enough that things don't work. And tonight we're going to understand why we need to battle some of those things so strongly. I wanted to real quick start with this right here.
10 years old. I was over at my uncle's house and he had a chest full of, and this is the thing, it's funny because, people have said, well, there's nothing wrong with adults and the whole thing. But the problem is that, you never find it as an adult. I don't know anybody who found pornography as an adult. You always find it as a child. It's everywhere. And again, I didn't even know what sex was. But man, all I knew is when I opened that magazine and saw those ladies in that magazine and how beautiful they were, all my problems were gone. Like, it was numb. Like, I didn't know anything about violence, about where I was. It was just like, I could zone away. And every problem was disappear. And I had to have it.
Have you got an example of how bad it got for you?
I could watch from probably 10 o'clock after my workout, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. at night.
10 a.m. till 11 p.m. at night?
It wouldn't stop. And I couldn't stop.
How did it impact your marriage? Because you got married in 1989?
Yes. Listen, first of all, I got married in 1989 to the most beautiful woman on earth. And Rebecca, I met her, she's from Gary, Indiana. We met in college. I actually met in church, which was wild because I vowed I wasn't going to be religious. But what was wild is that I couldn't get away from the things I felt and the things I was used to. And so I went to church and met her, and she was on the piano, and she was the church leader, the worship leader. And this was the thing. I thought that once I got married, the problem would go away. I said, man, I got a real woman now. Oh, I don't have to tell her about anything. We just gonna, it was a phase. I'm going to be out of it. It's going to be great. And then the first argument, well, do you feel like it? No, I don't feel like it tonight. Okay, I'll be right back.
Oh, the first sexual conflict.
Right. I'm going out to get. And I thought it would free. I thought it was going to be my answer to what it was, but I realized it didn't. And I decided that was going to be my secret. And what was so unbelievable to me, I just remember, because the wake-up call of all wake-up calls was what we call D-Day around our house. And it was February 2010, and my wife was basically, over the years, she was always suspicious. But what had happened is 10 years earlier, basically in 2000, I had went to a massage parlor and got a and cheated on her. And man, I vowed that I would never tell a soul. Like, I was so hurt. I couldn't believe I did that. Like, you think I can only do this and that, it's going to stop here. But it just fueled the want for more. And I actually crossed the line. Well, years go by. But my wife was always suspicious. Like, what's up with you, Terry? And I'm like, I'm good. And I remember starting arguments so she would stop talking. Because what happens is one lie turns into 2, turns into 100. And over 10 years, you start to forget which lie you told. Things start to conflate and mixing up, and we never stopped. And man, it all culminated. I'll never forget. February 2010, she was like, "What is it I don't know about you, Terry Crews? There's something I don't know. I can't." Man, it broke me. And when I told my wife, I heard this gasp on the other end, and I was like, oh boy, I think it's over. And she said, I'm done. She said, I don't know who you are. I have no idea. Because see, to me, it happened 10 years ago. But to her, it happened today. It was something that took me.
So you remember we talked about how it affects. These were guys, we looked at Mike Tyson, we looked at Terry Crews. These are guys like, oh, they've got it all, or they're a picture of manliness and all that type of stuff. And this was going on. And no matter what was going on for 10 years being married, more than 10 years being married, it was just he had that mask on and never could be who he was supposed to be in the relationship. And anytime there was a difficulty, it always caused problems. And a lot of times would push him back into old behaviors. So one of the things when we talked that week, one week about how to break the chain and everything, that's a hard thing. You might be away from it forever, but something throws you back. And like he said, I know how to go and make myself feel better. I know how to get out of the situation. And there's no way to truly build a true relationship when that's sitting on the back burner, when that's always a chance that could come back. So, point is a selfish act. I know what I want. I know how to get my needs met. I know how to make myself feel better. And it doesn't include anybody else. It includes a computer that I control. It's about what I want, what somebody will do, what somebody will say, how somebody will treat me. And I can go to what I want to get what I want. So it's a selfish act. So when you think about how does a selfish act affect a relationship? How does selfish actions, how does selfish ideas and thoughts, how can we ever expect to have a good relationship when there's selfish acts going on? I mean, if you want to take pornography out of it, take anything. Anytime that we act selfish, how's it going to react? How can we ever expect to have a healthy relationship when there's selfish acts going on my side or my spouse's side? It takes two, and selfish acts do what? They kill the relationship. So one of the things we've got to understand is there is zero way to have a good relationship when there's something that's selfishly going on in your life. That could be wanting control over money. That could be wanting control over time. That could be wanting control over anything. Anything that it's about what I want and not about what's better for the group, it kills the relationship, right? So we've got a lot of things. What are things other than porn we have to battle in relationships to keep healthy relationships when it comes to selfishness? I already named a few. Money. Time. What? Hunting. Time. Money and time go in with hunting, right? Communication. I want to communicate about what I want to. I want you to communicate the way I want you to communicate. I don't want to feel bad when you tell me I'm doing something wrong. I don't want to be called out for something. That's more about me being selfish than what's best for the relationship, right? Anything else?
Sometimes even the kids, like if you want
Kids.
the kids involved in a ton of things.
My desire to want my kids to do what I want them to do, right? Not us as a team, not us as a couple. I want it to be done the way I want it to be done, right? Anything else, selfishness that come into a relationship? Goals. Where I want our family to be, how I want to work, when I want to work, do I want to work? You know, how much I'm going to be gone out of the house, those things. It's all about what I want, which any selfish act is going to kill a relationship. So obviously porn is extremely selfish. Porn makes us start to play mind games. We will play mind games when it comes to relationships for us and for them. We start to play mind games. Have you ever felt like mind games were being played on you in a relationship? Not just, maybe not even not a husband-wife relationship, maybe a boss and an employee relationship or a friend relationship. Have you ever felt like mind games were being played? Yes? How do you deal with that when you feel like mind games are being played? What does that make you want to do? Play the game back. Absolutely. Especially a man, the first thing is, you treat me like this, I'm going to show you I can treat you back. We have a competitive spirit. So a lot of times if somebody's playing a game with me, I'll show you I can play the game too. Absolutely. What else do we do when we feel like mind games are being played against us? Withdrawal. Shut off. Like, man, I'm not even going to be around that person. I'm not going to spend time. I'm not going to invest in them. We're definitely not going any farther than we are right now, right? Anything else? So withdrawal, play the game back. What's that? Question their motive. You start questioning them. It's like you're playing a mind game. Why? Are you trying to get something out of this? Are you trying to make me look bad? Are you trying to... All of a sudden, we always want to go to, you're doing something to me. Right? Because we look through our lens most of the time, right? Anything else?
I would say build resentment.
Build resentment. Yeah.
Resentment towards the spouse or towards a friend.
Absolutely. So it kind of that idea, I've been burnt once, I'm not going to be burned twice, gets to the point where it's hard to grow. I pull back, but I'm also not going to trust next time because I'm scared I'm going to get hurt. See, the crazy thing is, y'all are thinking about what happens when you're burnt. But a lot of times we look at our spouse when they've been burnt and we can't understand, why are you acting this way? They're acting exactly like we would have acted. There's a great scene in a movie, I don't know if y'all remember Matthew McConaughey, when he's talking to a jury and he's talking about a child being hurt, and it's back in backwoods Mississippi, and he's talking about a child being hurt and murdered and taken advantage of and all this kind of stuff, and he's sitting in a Mississippi courtroom where it's just 99% white, and he's saying, because they've been trying this person, and he goes through and he says, imagine this happening, imagine this happening, imagine this happening, imagine this happening. And then he gets to the end of the thing and say, now imagine that she's a white girl. So that's the same thing in a relationship. We look at it a certain way and not go, wait, I got to look at it like if I was involved in this. Not just put it out there where I can deal with it. It's how am I dealing with this situation? So the mind game that it plays is this. It's going to play a mind game on you and on her. Pornography and pornography being involved in a relationship when they don't know about it. We're talking at first just about they don't know about it. Okay, that it's a secret. When you're keeping a secret that this is going on in your life, it will play a mind game on you, and it will play a mind game on your spouse. And it will affect your life completely. So let's look at this. On you. It will change, it will lead your expectations of her. We talked about this a little bit, but how does looking at porn, how do you think looking at porn will change your expectations on her? How will it lead expectations on your spouse from you?
Like I said in the last video, you're gonna want that type of expectation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If I've got a point of view, I've watched it, I think of it a certain point, I look at it and go, well, you should treat me like that because I've seen it done. My idea of what you should act like, how you should think, all those type of things is going to be, well, I expect that now. I am now seeing it happen. I want it, so I am frustrated when it doesn't happen. What she thinks and how about sex and how much. We expect when we do anyway, okay, guys are tough with this anyway, but we expect women to think about sex as much as we do. Because we think about it a lot, right? It's the honest truth. Studies have been done, we talk about it, and we'd be lying if we say, oh, I never think about that. You're lying through your teeth. You think about it probably every other thought. Things you shouldn't even be thinking about sexually, you think about sexually. It's just what we do. It's just who we're made, how we're made, that's what we struggle with. Well, if I'm involved in porn where I'm thinking of it and I'm thinking of it irrationally and it's making me think about it more. If I sat here and said, don't think about a pink elephant, what do we think about? I don't want to think about a pink elephant, but if you said enough, that's what I do. Well, if I'm inundating my mind with pornography, guess what I think about more than I usually would? Pornography. And then I'm also thinking about what I saw last night or 20 minutes ago or 3 hours ago. So I'm thinking about it all the time. So I'm supercharged, and I don't understand why she doesn't think about it. But we think about things differently, don't we? There's a reason for this. The way men think are completely different than the way a woman thinks. A man thinks like a waffle. When you look at that waffle, what do you see? A bunch of squares. We have our squares, okay? There's our work square. There's our hobby square. There's our kids square. There's our relationship square. There's our sex square, and sometimes that square is a lot bigger than all the other squares, okay? Or we wish it was. So we have all these squares. Do you know it's been proven that men can't multitask? We don't multitask. What we do is we get better and better at jumping from box to box. So when your wife walks in and you're watching the football game, you're sitting on the couch, you got your cold beverage, whatever you like, and you're sitting back and you're watching your favorite team, and they're winning and they're doing it, and she walks in and says, what you doing? What goes through your mind? It's either going to be nothing or I'm sitting here watching the game. I'm not doing it. They don't understand that all I'm doing is sitting and watching the game. I remember one time I was sitting outside working on a lawnmower, trying to fix it because my yard needed to be mowed. And I was in the heat, have a hard time. Well, my wife comes out and she pulls up a little chair. She sits next to me and she starts talking. Innocent, just having a fun conversation. I'm just sitting there. So she thought, I'll pull the chair up and I'll just talk to you. 10 to 15 minutes went by. And finally, I take my whatever tool I'm using. I put it on the ground, not surely lightly, really nicely. I put it down. And I look at her and I said, okay, I'm either going to have to talk to you or I'm going to fix this and mow the yard this afternoon. I can't do both. It doesn't work. My mind doesn't work that way. And see, what we do is we jump from box to box to box to box, quicker and quicker and quicker. That's why we are very determined in a lot of things we do. That's how our mind works. Give me work, I'm at work, I'm going to do it. When she calls you sometimes just to chat and say, honey, I can't wait till you get home. I'm at work. What else do you need? Because I'm in my work box at that time, right? So we jump from box to box. So if we are dealing with pornography and it makes us stick in that box, guess what we think about all the time? Sex. what we've seen, what we want, what we desire. So we're spending all day imagining it, and then we get home and we're sitting on the couch and we're thinking, well, the kids aren't around. Well, there's nothing going on. At any minute, surely she'll come over here and kiss me. Surely she'll think and realize nobody's around. We could have some alone time. Surely she'll think that because I'm thinking it, so she should think it. We get real selfish because we stay in that box for a long time. The problem is, women are like spaghetti. Women don't think in boxes like us. You can watch your wife, and 90% of the time, she can sit in the kitchen, make a grocery list, cook dinner, deal with the kids, clean the stuff off, and unload the dishwasher all at the same time. And we don't understand how that happens, because there's absolutely no way we would be able to do any of that, because we're thinking like a waffle. Their stuff all intertwines. So when she's getting to the end of the day, she's already thinking about, I've got to make lunch tomorrow for the kids. I've got to get their stuff to get ready. Oh, this one has a project. This is going on. God, I was tired. I can't wait to get in that bathtub. Their mind is with 50,000 other things when your mind is sitting in one place and it's been there trapped all day long. So 99% of the time, our thoughts aren't even working, and then we're expecting them to think like us. Do you see how this could be a problem? You see how it causes problems in other places, not just in the intimacy situation? What are other places that this could cause problems, not just in intimacy? Absolutely. 100% in communication. Because she's trying to talk about something that you hadn't even got a box for yet. She can't what do you mean you hadn't thought about that? Baby, I'm still thinking I got to mow the yard tomorrow. I mean, I hadn't even got past the chores I got tomorrow. So a lot of times it will keep us from even communicating because we're not even on the same wavelength, right? Anything else that a situation like this would cause a problem with? How about expectations? Not just in the bedroom or intimacy, but expectations of what you should be doing tomorrow. You ever had an argument with a spouse or significant other when they think, I'm going to give you a list of all these things you should do, and you're thinking, I just got to get through work tomorrow. I know how hard work is going to be, but now you want me to do this, run by this at lunch, take in this. She's thinking like this, going, well, it all has something to do with each other. It's all tomorrow. And you're thinking, I'm just trying to make it out of my box, right? So anytime you have something like pornography or something that's stealing your brain time, it sticks you in that place. You are already stuck there, and you're also expecting her to. So I told you last week about Joey and Chandler. So really quick, I'm hoping this video works. If not, I'm going to explain it to you, okay? So we're going to see if this is going to work. It worked 3 times.
Oh, man!
What is that? Triggered snaking the shower drain.
What in the name of hell?
Maybe you found your flip
today. Ow, ow. What is that song that's been in my head all day?
It's the theme from Good Will Humping.
You know who doesn't even like dirty movies? My new boyfriend, Joshua.
Yeah, right.
No, he told me he prefers to leave certain things to the imagination.
Oh, yeah, and did he also say that he thought that some of the dialogue was corny and that he actually found it funny, not sexy?
Yes.
Yeah, he likes porn.
I think supermodels are too skinny. Hey.
Hi. Listen, can we watch cartoons on your television? We need a porn break. We spent the last 2 hours watching In and Out and In Again.
So why don't you just turn it off?
Because then we'd be the guys who turned off free porn. Hey. Hey. I was just at the bank, and there was this really hot teller, and she didn't ask me to go do it with her in the vault.
Same kind of thing happened to me. Woman pizza delivery guy comes over, gives me the pizza, takes the money, and leaves.
What, no, like, nice apartment, bet the bedrooms are huge?
No, nothing.
You know what? We have to turn off the porn.
I think you're right.
All right, ready?
1,
2.
3. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's kind of a relief. You want to see if we still have it?
Yeah.
Free value! We have a free porn!
So it's obviously a comedic thing. But you can see how that would cause problems with a relationship, how it can take a diluted way of thinking and say, I'm starting to think that everything should be this way. If the person on the video, which we talked about it one week, porn is not sex, but we start to think it is, we expect other people to act like they do, even though it's a production, not sex. And that's what they did, right? I went to the bank and nobody even tried to do this. Well, I went and did this and nobody tried to do anything with me, and it just changes our mind. But see, that's a very, very extreme, but it happens in our relationships. I talked to her the same way I saw, and she didn't react to me the same way. She didn't respond to me the same way. She didn't feel love. She didn't feel connected because, and it's different, right? But it changes our mindset. You will get upset over what you want to happen. If you expect something and you think all day long, maybe even you saw this even before, or if you didn't have an issue with porn. If I'm thinking about it all day long and thinking, man, the kids are going to be gone tonight, this is going to happen, this is going to go on, and then it doesn't go our way, how does it affect us? Disappointed, mad, frustrated. All that usually is we don't feel loved, we don't feel connected, we don't feel anything with them, so we get upset. And if we are being told this is normal, we'll get even more frustrated. Let's have a reality check for a second. You're angry before sex even happens about something that's not reality. You're frustrated early in the night because things aren't going like you think they should, and what you're basing it on isn't even reality. That's tough when you start thinking about that, isn't it? Because 90% of the time, who do we blame in the relationship for not being sexy or not being intimate or not doing that? It's like, oh, she doesn't have the same sex drive I do. Oh, she doesn't think about it. Oh, she doesn't think I'm attractive. Oh, she's just being a prude. We put it on her when we're actually looking for something that's not even reality and setting an unfair precedent, which will affect her. On you. It will affect how you treat her. If I don't get what I want, how do I react a lot of times? Like a child a lot of times. Frustrated, aggravated. I'm not happy, and then that's where you get, what's wrong? What's going on? And that just frustrates you more. Because you know in the back of your head, I'm upset, I'm aggravated, I'm not getting what I want, so it's going to affect you to treat her differently. Your expectations are not communicated will drive your attitude. Your expectations will drive your attitude all the time. That's with everything, right? You don't get the promotion at work. We don't just look at it and go, oh, that's okay, that's fine, that's not, do we? We get frustrated. You don't get pat on the back when you did a good job. We don't just go, oh, that's okay, that's fine. We look for those connections. Men are accomplishment-based people. God created us that way. When he created Adam, he said, you got a job, do it. So that's in our spirit, we want to accomplish things. So we need to be told we're doing a good job. Nothing stays in one place. That's something you have to understand about our attitudes. If you're frustrated about intimacy or you're frustrated about what's not happening when you want it to happen, it will not just stay in the bedroom. Where else does it show up? Everywhere. I mean, give me some places that it shows up.
Work, kids.
Absolutely. It'll show up at your work. You'll go, I always have this saying, you do not have to bring work to home with you, but you always bring home to work with you. So you get there and things are tense or frustrated, and you're frustrated from last night, you're going to be frustrated even more at work. Then when your wife wants to communicate or wants to decide about what you do with the kids, you're frustrated because things didn't go last night like you wanted them to, so you're more frustrated, you're a little bit distant, you're a little bit more aggravated. That's why Terry Cruz's wife said there's something wrong. You're not you. You know why? It's because he was, and I don't know how much you know about his personality, he's an outgoing, just always on, he's always in the life of the party, he does all kinds of stuff on TV and the movies. That's his personality. And what she said is, when you're at home with me, you're not that person. You're pulled back, you're frustrated, you're always something, there's always a fight going on, there's always an aggravation. So there was always a problem. What it was is he had this secret that things weren't happening in the bedroom like he wanted to, so he was withdrawal, frustrated. So he'd be that about the kids, he would be about that about money, he'd be that about the future. It's going to never, when we get frustrated, it never stays in one place. Does it? Be mad at anything and does it stay in one place? Guys are not good about that. It affects everything, okay? That syrup in that waffle starts to leak over into other boxes. That's a great way to think about it. Things that are going on, any frustration or emotion, we don't do good with it, so it floats over into other boxes most of the time. So how are we going to ever treat our wives like we need to if we're letting the emotion and the frustration of something that's not even reality beat us up and make us act different with her? So like I said, reverse the roles. What if she acted that way with you? What if she was distant with you? What if she was frustrated with you about everything that went on? It'd be hard for us to deal with, wouldn't it? Give you an example of something. I'm not saying, because we're videoing this, I'm not saying I did this, okay? Because you could probably lose your license for doing this. But there might have been a therapist one day that was dealing with a man that was him and his wife in therapy. And he was unbelievably controlling, unbelievably frustrating, and very physically dominating. And so the therapist is sitting there talking to both of them, and he is just browbeating her about intimacy and how they don't have intimacy and how they're not together, and we would be so much better if we just had more sex, and it would be so much better if this was going on. And he was just all over about what wasn't happening in the bedroom, to the point that she started shaking and she needed to go and say, hey, why don't you go to the restroom? Why don't you step out? And when she stepped out, the person looked at the therapist like, see, you're a man, you should understand this, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And just went off about, I just don't understand why she won't be this way, and I'm a good guy, and all this kind of stuff. And that therapist grabbed him by the legs and went across the face, looked at him and says, now let's make love. Yeah. Wake you up, won't it? Because that's what was happening in the relationship. I'm going to browbeat you. I'm going to make fun of you. I'm going to tell you what you're horrible at. I'm going to tell you why you're not living up to my expectations and all this stuff. But if we would just be more intimate, we would feel good. Kind of selfish, isn't it? But that's what we have our expectations of. And we go, well, I'm just frustrated because our sex life isn't. But 90% of the time, we're distant. We're frustrated. We're aggravated because it didn't happen. She didn't jump your bones on the couch the night before. And so you just can't understand why she just doesn't act like that. But our mind is stuck in something that's not reality. That's how that changes our relationship. So when it does that, how does it affect her? Because a lot of times we're talking about us. Let's talk about her. Your distance and frustration will push her away sexually. Again, the slap in the face. The connection is not there because you're now frustrated, you're not communicating, and finally, most of the time you're communicating in a very gruff, frustrated, y'all all know that feeling, y'all all know that attitude that we give a lot of times, right? When we're not happy with somebody's like, man, you're not yourself. Usually it comes back to something's going on that I'm not happy with you. But we'll hide it most of the time because we're trying to keep frustrated. We're trying to keep the peace at the house, right? We don't want her hurt. We don't want her frustrated. We don't want her to pull away even more. So we'll just won't talk, but we know that it's coming out and she knows it. Nobody knows us, unfortunately, better than the one we're married to, right? So she will pull away sexually, which will cause you to be more frustrated. But your actions are causing what you're getting frustrated for. Men and women relate to sex completely different. That's why this is such a problem. Is because we think they think about sex the same way we do, and they think of it completely opposite of the way we do. So look at this. Here's how a man thinks about it. I love you. I care for you. So I want to have sex, be intimate, have relationship, do things with you, all this stuff. And the more I do, it's going to show you, I'm going to fill that cup with love. The more sex we have, the more in love we are. The more actions that we do, the more we're filling the cup with love. That's how we think about sex. I love her, I care for her, I get something out of it. So I just want to do this to show we are in love. That's why 90% of the time it goes back to, if we just had a better sex life, it'd be better. Because we look at it as, I'm trying to show you love. The problem is, she thinks about it differently. A woman thinks about sex as the overflow. We love each other, we have such a relationship, we spend time together, we do these things, and so we do these things so much that it overflows, and when it overflows, as much overflow as how much I want to be with you. So if we're trying to have the best relationship with our wife, with our girlfriend, or whatever, pour into it so that she'll want to have that. But if we think of it as, see, we're not in love because we're not doing it enough, she's thinking of it completely different. She needs, and one of the greatest things I always tell people, for a man, for me, honey, I'm sorry, you're watching this, I'm telling a bunch of men about something. My wife could walk through our living room wearing a muumuu down to here, thank God she didn't have one of those, okay? Carrying a thing of laundry. And I know what's under there, and I know what I like, and I could be ready to be with her right then. Because of my attraction, because of my connection, and I'm a visual person, okay? That's how men think. I know what I want, I know how I want it, and I can do that. That's how we think of sex. I'm going to pour into that glass. For hers, for a woman, sex starts at 6 o'clock in the morning. How'd you treat her? How'd you talk to her? How'd you interact with her? What did you do during the day to connect with her? So if you want to have a good sex life at 10 o'clock at night, start at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's the difference in how they look at sex and how we look at sex. They're not able to do that. It's not their personality. They're not wired the same way we are. We talked about that the other time when women go into marriage and go into their whole relationship about feeling secure. If they're doing that and in that relationship, they don't feel secure. It's like I've given that what I've got up, so what's going to happen? Women start to look inside negatively. If something's going wrong with their intimacy, you are frustrated with her, you're putting on this air of something's wrong, she can't figure it out, where we will get outwardly frustrated, she's not doing what she's supposed to, she's not fulfilling my needs, she's not making me feel good, especially when my mind is distracted and caught on something else, she thinks differently. So when she looks inside, these are the things she thinks. I must not be pretty enough. There's no way I can satisfy him sexually. Is that all he sees of me? You see how hard it would be to be intimate if this is what she starts thinking about herself and about the relationship? If we put unrealistic expectations because of some production, everything we're asking for can't happen. It will affect your sex life. It will affect your intimacy. It will affect your connection. She won't. If she feels like these things, if you felt these type of things, would you even want to have a conversation with somebody? This is something we have to be aware of. This is what we're fighting. We're fighting to get out of this stuff so these actions don't happen on a regular basis. Imagine Think of how many times in your life, it might not even have to do with porn, it just things didn't go your way and you were frustrated and you pulled away. How many times that might have happened in your life? If that happens over and over and over, what type of relationship does that build? See, we can look at that and go, man, I wouldn't do that. But we expect it to happen, don't we? How is our relationship really going to be? So let's look at this verse. 1 Peter 3:7. Likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel, since they are heirs with you in the grace of life, so that your prayers may not be hindered. Do we live with our wives in an understanding way about this or something like this? Do we live with our lives understandingly if we are allowing ourselves to be wrapped up in pornography? This right here is telling you how it'll affect you. Showing honor to the woman of the weaker vessel, since you're heirs in grace of life. So your prayers will be heard. I don't know about you, but I want my prayers to be heard, don't you? Watch this real quick.
Yeah.
We didn't marry fans, we married Forever. And we wanted Forever to act like a fan. And Forever's not impressed. Forever's not impressed. There's a different culture and code for Forever that fans don't have to adhere to.
Talk about it.
And so she wasn't, I'm not impressed, sir. Pay these bills. That's cute.
Hold on, you said it's a different code that Forever operates in that fans don't. What is that code?
Fans are so temporal. Fans are only here for victories. Forever's here for defeats.
David?
It's facts.
Do you hear what you just said?
I did. Fans only celebrate in victories. I'm only as good as my last trophy. Forever says whether you have a trophy or not, I'm with you. Now, what Forever also says, if you do not have trophies, you have to level up. I'm going to be here, but level up. I'll never be a fan of yours. I will always be your Forever.
God, dog.
And we marry
Tell me what that means to you.
fans, bro.
We marry fans and expect them to be forever. And then we get frustrated when they don't act like fans. If we live a life thinking that our spouses should all the time, you're not going to have a fulfilling life. And you're just going to get frustrated. Especially if she's the right woman and she's supposed to be forever, not a fan. She's supposed to be with you no matter if it goes good or bad. But we're expecting them to do this all the time, right? How hard is that?
It goes back to the selfishness and the pride.
Oh, doesn't it? It does, doesn't it? So it's a selfish act that takes away from our relationship. There is absolutely no way we can have a good relationship with a spouse if we have selfishness involved. So how do we not? Obviously this one, don't get involved or break the chain of porn, right? You are damning your relationship if you were involved in not breaking your relationship with porn. There's almost impossible way to have a good relationship with your spouse if you're involved with porn. You see that, right? So that one's got to be gone. Because none of us in here are sitting here going, I don't want a good relationship with my spouse. Nobody is sitting here going, I don't want to have with whoever I marry, that I don't want to have a relationship the rest of my life. You're not sitting here doing that, right? So you've got to prioritize my relationship with God, which we'll talk about next week. And my relationship with my spouse has to be over whatever selfishness is in my heart, whatever I'm stuck with. So I have to battle this, right? So what do we do? How do we build a relationship knowing that she looks at sex different, she has a different mind than we do, she thinks different than we do? Man, it sounds like we're behind the 8 ball to start with, doesn't it? Do we give up? I think we go back to that verse right there. Likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way. What does that look like to you? I can't understand what she needs unless I'm trying to, right? If I just told you that there is absolutely no way you will think like her on your own, I have to be proactive to figure out what she's thinking. Your mind doesn't work like hers, so don't think she's going to think like you. But what do we usually do? We sit there going, why didn't she think this? I think this. Why didn't she think this? Are we living understandingly when we do that? When you're sitting on the couch expecting something to happen, are you living understandingly?
We do it at work every day. We have to explain ourselves at work every day.
I don't go in. Let's say if I'm trying to sell something, I got a lot of salesmen in here. I've got a lot of teachers in here. I don't go in and go, oh, do it my way. You're going to not make very many sales, and you're going to have a lot of kids that are going to be really frustrated. You've got to get on their level, right? You've got to figure out what they're thinking, what's going on, why do they need this, where I can talk to them on their dialect, right? So we have to be just as, when it comes to, put the porn away, because the porn's going to make you not think like them. It's gonna take you out of your mind and put you in the way the devil wants you to think. Porn is so opposite of the way a woman thinks that there's no way you can circle back around as long as you're involved in that. So for us to be understanding, I have to get out of that thought, and I have to figure out, how can I think like her? So how do I do that? If I don't naturally do that, how do I do that? How do I think like her? How do I figure out what's going on in her head? Communication. Boy, we throw that word around a lot, don't we? That's the go-to answer, communication. Do we know how to communicate? Do you know how to communicate the way a woman wants to communicate? I know how you know how to communicate how you want to. Well, how do we usually communicate? Think about it. How does a guy communicate? Bullet points, directly. Boom, boom, boom. And 90%, what's a bullet point? Bullet point is that box. I'll talk about this. Is she going to understand what you're saying? And we think, but I said it so clearly. If you don't learn to communicate like her. So honestly, same. Trying to think of something. We all kind of grew up the same, everybody in here. Okay, let's do it this way. We're good friends, but you're a lot younger than me, right? I wish I was young and understood everything that's going through with young kids, but I don't. I have gotten rid of the attitude that, oh, I'm the hip guy that understands. No, I'm not. We all, nobody in here is, okay? So I don't think like you. I don't even have some of the same words that you use in communication. So the only way I'm going to learn to communicate with him is to sit down and go, what's going on with you? What's your day like? What is it like to right now? Because your dating life is completely different than mine was at your age. The only way I'm going to figure out how to communicate with somebody that doesn't communicate like me, doesn't think like me, it wasn't raised like me, is I got to sit down and I've got to ask and listen.
Well, you have to be intentional in this.
Ah.
Because if not, you start fixing all the problems.
You have to be intentionally listening. Yeah. Because, what does it communicate to her if you ask a question and then you go straight into, let me tell you how to fix that? You didn't listen. You listened just enough to figure out what you needed to say.
Or you tell her she's incapable.
She's incapable of doing that. So now she's frustrated with you. Now you done started a fight. You ain't getting laid tonight no matter what. You never had touch porn again. Now you said that. It's like, man, I'm going to bed. Yeah, it's not happening. But we've got to be intentional. But 90% of the time, we go from box, let me listen, to fix it box. Instead of looking at it and going, maybe she didn't need you to fix it. I learned this, unfortunately, very early in my marriage. My wife is unbelievably good at what she does. She's unbelievably good at what she does. And we moved to Virginia, and she started working at this hospital. And within a year, they promoted her to the director of the whole program. She's just out of college, all this stuff. There were ladies that had worked there longer than she had been alive. They were all women that she worked with. So you could guess what all happened and how things blew up when that happened. So she would go as a young lady and just get lambasted by these older ladies, and she'd come home to me and go, I can't believe this is happening, and this is going on and everything. And me, being the amazing counselor that I am, I'd go in and say, well, what you need to do is you need to lay down this, and you need to tell them this, and you need to go to your director and tell them this. And I started to realize I was causing more problem in my marriage than I was fixing her problem. So I sat back and I was like, wait, I don't want this to happen. What is my job as her husband? My job is to make my wife feel good. It is not for me to fix all her problems. So she came home and she started asking, this happened and this happened and da-da-da. And I looked at her and I'm like, would you like me to do something about that? And she would look at me and go, no, you can't do anything about it. I just wanted to tell you. So I went, hey, I just did my job. I listened. Let's go get something to eat. I'm sorry you're dealing with that. And our relationship came better because she was like, I can use you to vent. And there were times she would look at me and go, okay, what would you do if you were in my shoes? But I had to be intentionally listening, not trying to fix a problem. And us as guys, we do. And we sit there and we want something and we think, I know how this could get fixed. And I can't believe she's not thinking the same thing I am. And we get frustrated and we hold her accountable and almost punish her for something she had no clue. She wasn't even thinking. It wasn't in her mind, but because you thought it was, it's just as reality to you as if it should have been. So we screw our own relationships up. And that's what porn does. It gets us thinking outside of our head, going, you should think this way, you should want this, you should act this, and everybody should. And it causes problems in our relationship, which makes her go, well, now you're distant, or you bite my head off, or you expect things, or things get weird in the bedroom, and so now I don't feel that comfortable, so I'm not even going to start anything because of all the stuff we'll talk about in just a minute of where it goes sometimes. So I'm going to go over here, I'm going to fall asleep accidentally, which just causes more problems. Communication is good, but we have to truly communicate. Communication takes two. There's a giver and a receiver. If I'm not receiving, I'm just giving you back advice. I'm not playing my role, so there's not real communication going on.
Yeah, understanding. So I think it's being try to win the fight.
Absolutely. We try to win the fight. We're trying to win the fight against everything. That's what we try to do.
It's like it's on Facebook. I think it talks about it. You never want to win an argument.
Don't want to win you don't want to win an argument with anybody you care about.
And then you're losing.
Absolutely. Because then it's, okay, you won this, but you're not going to win the next one. And we're worse than she is. We're more of a, you got your way this time, you're not getting your way next time, because we are competitive. But if anybody you care about, that you want a relationship, you don't ever want to think you won an argument. It's not positive. Now, you two came to a conclusion. You two came to the same understanding. You two came to a compromise, completely different than winning an argument. But we think if we win, why do we want to win so much? Because it makes us feel good. We get selfish again. It proves to us that we're smart. It proves to us that we're manly. And it makes us beat our chest and say we're a good guy because I knew and I could do that. We do not like losing. But you are losing if you're trying to win an argument with your spouse. Don't get me wrong. Some of your spouses are harder to deal with than others. I'm not saying that. Sometimes I'm harder to deal with some of you. Sometimes my wife's harder to deal with than your spouse. But it's a working relationship. This stuff completely blows our mind. We joke because it was so funny that they said, that really happened? That somebody wouldn't be sexualized? But that happens in our relationship all the time. And then the other thing is, like, we'll deny it when everybody else knows something's going on. The other guys, they didn't even think, when the girlfriend said, oh, my boyfriend doesn't think that, they laughed at it. They knew better, right? But we'll put that charade on as long as we possibly can to make ourselves feel better about stuff like that. So we have to build our relationship on solid ground, not on something that we have a mask on and nobody can see it. Okay? Let's pray. Dear Lord God, thank you for your word. And God, thank you for the relationships that you give us. Thank you for our spouses. Thank you for our future spouses. Thank you for knowing that we needed something. God, give us the opportunity to develop relationships correctly, the way that you would want us to do that. Healthy. So that we can, more than anything, so we can experience the true relationship that you've made for us. God, so many times we think we know what's best in our relationships or what we want or what we desire. And God, if we would do it the way that you wanted us to do it, if we would truly understand that you made them different than us and not try to make them like us, we would actually get to experience a relationship the way you designed it. And if we truly love you and understand and truly want to follow you, we would understand that that is so much better than the way we want it. God, give us the power and strength to help each other, guide each other, and give it the accountability to truly do the things you want us to do and to break away from these strongholds of the devil that truly rob us of the intimacy that you want us to have, both emotionally, mentally, in our heart, and also physically with our spouses. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Let me cut this off real quick. Guys, if y'all want to head out, y'all can. I'm going to give y'all 10, 15, 20 minutes.